Hello, how are you? This is Coffee and Headlines. We are back. We've been singing Gershwin songs for the last 3 days, and now I cannot get them out of my head. Of course, you already know why, but I'm not gonna go there. I don't think we have to. Anyhow, today is Thursday, June the 22nd, and it is a pleasure to get together with you, as always, to share headlines from our city, state, and country, to share your comments, ideas, and suggestions about how to best connect with one another and with our city here in Puerto Vallarta. Yes, this is where we live. This is Coffee and Headlines. And it's schwitzy still. There's no sign of rain just yet, but we're doing the best we can to cope with it. We're drinking lots of liquids, and I hope you are too. As always, if you're watching live for the first time, it will be a pleasure for us to give you a nice little welcome, and we can do that if you write the word new in your comment. We'll give you a nice little welcome. And if you do what Den did just now, which is he added a capital letter Q at the beginning of his comment, that means you want to share this with everyone and you want us to react to it. Cardiac testing done. The nurse thanked me for being a boring patient. Looks like I'll be around to annoy my family and friends for the foreseeable future. Den, that is great news. I am so glad that the equipment is still working, and I just love the good news. I see John Gregory says he's watching live. Well, it's a pleasure to have you. I don't recognize your face, but it's a pleasure to see you. This is just wonderful. So today we have interesting news. We have important news, and I grabbed a couple of items that just jumped at me. Just interesting things, or things that I find interesting. I hope you will too, and you'll see what I mean when we get to them. But first, let me cue the news and put them on my screen so that I can tell you about them. And it starts with, a black screen. No, we can't have that. So let me change that to that, and that looks lovely. Power outages are now being reported throughout the country. If it gets too hot, what do? We use more electricity to stay cool. And now an increasing number of power outages is being reported in at least 18 states of Mexico, including Jalisco. And I have read at least one report of outages here in Puerto Vallarta. The National Commission for Energy Control, or CENACE, indicated Tuesday, a couple of days ago, that they went into alert mode after reporting a record consumption of 52,997 megawatts throughout the country. I'm glad that those were not speakers, because that would have been very, very loud. And of course, the National Water Commission keeps reporting that low pressure system is lingering, that a low pressure system is lingering off the coast now with a 60% chance of becoming a hurricane in the next 7 days. I just keep my fingers crossed for a good old downpour. any day now to clear the air and get rid of all the dust out there. That would make me so very happy. The second pre-candidate for the presidency of Mexico from the Morena party, former Foreign Affairs Chancellor Marcelo Ebrard, will be in Puerto Vallarta on Sunday to participate in a number of yet-to-be-determined activities. I could be wrong, but I think he would be a much better suited candidate than the previous dude. You see, Ebrard was chief of Mexico City government for 4 years, and he was the Foreign Affairs Secretary for another 4. So he has a lot of experience inside and outside of the country. But of course, it is too early to tell. So we will have to just wait and see how this whole thing unfolds. We still have quite a few months to go. And, this is good news for those of you that travel a lot or are planning a visit to Mexico City. It wasn't too long ago that the world's 50 best restaurants named Mexican chef Elena Reigadas as the best in the world. The organization, which is comprised of a panel of 1,080 culinary experts that follow a structured and audited voting procedure, has now placed Quintonil restaurant in Mexico City as one of the top 10 restaurants in the world. Bravo. The restaurant is owned by Mexican chef Jorge Vallejo, and it went from number 27 in 2021 to number 9 this year, and it is the only Mexican restaurant in the top 10 list. The first place went to a restaurant in Peru, and of course there's a lot more restaurants to be enjoyed in the lists which are included in this article, which of course I will include in the show notes. Now, this next one will appeal to those of you that live in condos. Well, no, I'm stretching the news. Let me not stretch the news. I will not speculate. Let me just tell you what the news is, and then I'll tell you why it's interesting. For the first time in Mexico's history, a federal tribunal, a federal court, has recognized the existence of an interspecies family, indicating that pets are family members, not property. This came from a proposal by federal judge Paula Maria Garcia to declare that cats and dogs can be part of the family after a trial took place involving a family that had a dog shelter at home, and the woman that had the dog shelter was challenged for not having a permit to operate one. So, of course, the judges went on her side and said, your dogs are part of your family. You can have your dogs. Now, what does this say? And this is me thinking, my crazy head. What does this say about all those condo developments where you're not allowed to move in with a dog or a cat? Well, things might just start getting a little interesting in that regard if a federal court in Mexico has dictated that your pet is part of your family. Excuse me. I wonder how that plays out in the United States and Canada. I have no idea, but if you've had any interesting situations happen to you or people you know in which your pets were not deemed as important as they surely are, please feel free to comment, and we will take a look at that during the comment section in a little while. But first, let's take a look at our weather forecast, which has to do with, Jesus. In the Zuckerberg versus Musk cage match, my money is on the bear that I'm going to drop into the cage. This, of course, having to do with the fact that somebody came up with this wacky idea of Zuckerberg and Musk having a fight. A caged fight. But what do we care? We don't care. It is 30 degrees right now. That's what we care about. Humidity is at 61%. And our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 86. 1% chance of rain for today. Now, isn't that exciting? Our weather forecast says it's going to be humid with partly cloudy skies throughout the day, a high of 33 and a low of 26. Tomorrow, Friday, will be humid with mostly clear skies. A few clouds may be wandering around, a 5% chance of rain with a high of 33 and a low of 26. And Saturday, Saturday, humid with mostly clear skies, but a few clouds may be wandering around. A chance of rain of 27%, a high temperature of 33, and a low temperature of 26. Could the rain finally come this weekend? I certainly hope so. Now, moving right along, I have one more about the heat wave. Let me put it up on the screen. Just in case you were wondering, Mexico's current heat wave is making the rounds in international news. And now Vox has published an explainer article in English on what is a heat wave, after all, and how is climate change making them worse. So if you're geeky like I am and you like these explainer articles, this might be something that might be fun or at least interesting to read. Then, Noti Espacio shared a nice reminder of the Charro Parade that will take place along the Malecón this coming Sunday, starting at 6 p.m. This, of course, part of the new Charro Festival that is coming to the city. It should be fun. I see here that 5 different mariachi groups will saunter down the Malecón, hopefully playing music as they go. So it should be a really fun thing to enjoy. And now I want to tell you, this is a language segment, of course, but it made me laugh. Jennifer Lawrence's new dark sex comedy, No Hard Feelings, is out in the theaters today. I've seen the trailers, and it looks absolutely funny in a similar fashion as Something About Mary. Do you remember that movie? Anyhow, the film follows Maddie, a 26-year-old woman who is struggling to make ends meet. She answers a Craigslist ad to be a summer girlfriend for a 19-year-old boy named Zach, who is an introvert and socially awkward. And his parents are hoping that she will help him come out of his shell, if you know what I mean. So the title is a pun on the fact that she gets hired to bang him, and he apparently has no hard feelings. Where is my drum roll when you need it? No hard feelings. So one has to wonder, what did the film promoters do to name No Hard Feelings in Spanish? Well, the title became Hazme El Favor. And I'm going to unpack this phrase because it's a very common expression here in Mexico. Hazme el favor can mean a number of things, actually, and it all boils down to your enunciation. The phrase literally means, do me the favor. So you can have a very cordial conversation with someone and say, hazme el favor de cerrar la puerta. Please do me the favor of closing the door. So it's a good way to use it. But you can also be mean with the phrase. If you're meaning to, like in a soap opera, in a telenovela, the bossy woman of the house might say to the maid, hazme el favor de retirarte a tu habitación. Do me the favor of going to your room. So you can be really harsh with the expression. And yes, the guy has great legs, Sherry. Sherry is commenting on those legs. I'm definitely going to watch this movie. Anyhow, you can be mean with the expression, do me the favor, hazme el favor. You can be tender and manipulative with it. Like if you want somebody to buy you a drinky or something, if you say to your friend, come on, buy me a drink. Come on. Ándale, hazme el favor. So it can be like a sweet, humble request to someone. But it can also be an incredulous response. Yesterday, I was walking down Basilio Vadillo and I saw this guy wearing nothing but a G-string walking down the street, says one person. And the other one responds, hazme el favor. And it's kind of like saying, oh my God, who would believe something like that would happen? So that is a little bit of the explanation of the title. So in Spanish, I suppose hazme el favor is a double meaning of do me the favor to remove my child from virginity, Or do me the favor of, as an incredulous reaction, that a family had to hire a woman to get um, their child, to discover the world of horizontal pleasure. I don't know. All I know is that the title caught my attention, and I hope you didn't mind a little bit of Spanish expressions here in Coffee and Headlines. I'm under the impression that you enjoy these little Spanish moments. If that is not the case, just let me know. And speaking of Spanish, or speaking of lessons, or speaking of Mexico, I suppose I want to talk about these for a second. You know what these are: tortillas. Beautiful, lovely, fresh tortillas. But did they tell you what to do with them, like, or how to take care of them when you went to the supermarket and got your package? You know, I mean, have you ever shopped for tortillas? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But do they tell you what to do with them? I'm going to tell you what I do with my tortillas, just in case you are curious. Well, the first thing you want to know, or you already know, is that they're going to be given to you in they're going to be wrapped in paper. This is usually waxy paper, or just regular old paper. Sometimes when you go to a tortilla factory. And what are you going to do with them? Well, if you're at the supermarket, the first thing you're going to do is go to the produce section and get a plastic bag. And you're going to put your tortillas in the plastic bag. Why? Because when you put them in your refrigerator, as you should, if they're not in a plastic bag, the cold temperature of the refrigerator is going to extract the humidity from them, and they're going to get chewy and disgusting, and you will not be able to enjoy them at all. So you pick up your tortillas, you put them in a plastic bag, you pay for them, you get home, you tip your Uber driver. You don't tip him if he refuses to put on the air conditioning, of course, but you don't just put them in the refrigerator. And here is the big trick. When you unpack, or unwrap rather, your nicely organized tortillas from the paper wrapper, there is one fundamental thing that you have to do, because they're still going to be warm, more than likely. So what you need to do is take them by hand and separate them, each one. Like if you bought a whole kilo, it'll probably have 30 or 40. You want to go through the trouble and through the loving step of separating each one of your tortillas and stacking them again. All you do is take one, lift it, and put it in another place. Take the next one, lift it, and put it in another place. So you keep stacking them exactly the way they came, and you wrap them in the paper, and you put the paper wrap in the plastic bag, and then you put them in the refrigerator. Now, why do you do this? Because if you don't, they'll stick to one another, and those enchiladas that you were going to venture in making, or those tacos that you were going to make at home, it will be next to impossible for you to separate your tortillas after they've been in the refrigerator, unless you follow this very simple procedure. Thank you. And now, let's chat. Do me the favor of turning the heat down. Thank you, Gary. Thank you. You just made my day with that one. Yes, that's precisely what we're talking about. Let me rewind. Let me rewind all the comments. Oh my God, I'm glowing. Jesus. Hey, I'm glowing. I see a lot of good mornings. Thank you very much. I see good mornings. The sun is shining today in Mission. I sent the rain to you, Paco. Thank you very much, Marie. I will gladly welcome your rain. Let's see. Purim pum pim. We acknowledge that cue. Gina. Hello, Gina. It's good to see you. Let's see. What? Oh. Good morning. Butterfinger popcorn unlimited at Chedraui. Well, good to know, because I went looking for it at La Comer and I didn't find it. Maybe I have to go to Chedraui. I never shop at Chedraui, but I will just for this. Thank you for the tip, Robin. Uh-oh, the cat's out of the bag. Congratulations, Robin Spencer, on your retirement, and Gina Hendricks for taking the helm of Pig Out Groceries. Gina will do a great job, as always. I had heard about this. I had not seen a press release, so I had not seen it officially mentioned. So as long as Gary is mentioning it here, it is worth mentioning. Congratulations on passing the torch, and we'll see what kind of exciting things Gina does with the brand. Let's see what else we have. Oh, Karen, I hear you. A good old downpour would be more than welcome at my house. Well, it would be more than welcome at mine too. And Gina says Jorge is awesome, and I'm wondering if that means you are referring to the chef owner of the restaurant that won. Of course, Gina has a long history of being a restaurant owner and a sommelier and a chef in Mexico City, so she would know these people. Let's see. Purim pam pum pam pum. Why am I on top of the microphone today? I don't know. Yes, Dan. Looks like a tropical storm is possibly forming off the coast of Mexico sometime in the next 7 days, but it ain't moving. And I keep looking at the windy.com map, and it does not have any changes whatsoever. So I keep my fingers crossed. I really do. The world of horizontal pleasure. Of course. Who doesn't love a good horizontal pleasure consultant when you need one? There you go. Spencer volunteers the dog procedure in the United States. People receive doctor certificates to allow them into families as service dogs. I knew about this. Thank you very much for that. Let's see. We buy fresh tortillas almost every day, and they are wrapped in paper. Well, there you go, Sherry. I don't know if you've had colorful experiences trying to unstick them from one another, but now you know. Purim pam pum pam pum. Let's see what else. Deb needed the info on tortilla storage. Thank you very much. Oh, absolutely. Michael says, Paco, don't forget to eat one along the way when separating. Of course, when you're separating your tortillas, you have to take one aside. Just put a little pinch of salt on it, roll it, and just enjoy it. Freshly made tortillas are the best. Sherry says, we almost never use an Uber driver going to grocery. Does that mean I have to tip David for carrying the groceries? Well, either that or you got to put out, girl. I mean, I don't know what you get to do to compensate David, but I've seen him being loving and patient around you. So just be nice. Just be nice to David. Absolutely. Whether it's horizontally or vertically or whateverly, just be nice to David. Isn't this fascinating, Catherine? This pertains in Mexico to pets not being considered properly legally speaking, which opens up a lot of interesting questions. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I thought it was worth sharing this morning. Also, it includes allowing owners to take the dogs most anywhere in the public, outdoors as well as indoors, with leashes. That is my understanding. Let me respond to this one, Spencer, because it opens up a can of worms, and I see this happening in Puerto Vallarta all the time. Your dog being a service dog in the United States does not mean it will be officially recognized as a service dog in Mexico. It's completely different culturally, and I have heard more than one horror story in which a person entering a restaurant got ugly because they were not allowed with their service dog into a restaurant, into a theater, into a public place. I appreciate the fact that people need service dogs and that they have the official paperwork to live with them in the United States. but it does create interesting and complicated situations when you come here from the United States and you expect the treatment to be the same. So I'm just putting that out there for consideration. If you are here traveling with a service dog and are expecting the same kind of respect or treatment that you've earned in the United States, you may be disappointed. And that's all I'm going to say. Let's see. Congratulations for Gina Abound. Lovely. Barbara. Hello, Barbara. Thanks for the tips for storing tacos. Finally able to listen to the live broadcast again. There you go. And I think we are at the end of today's broadcast. Yay! Another broadcast. I'm going to go get ready for my Gershwin Copeland presentation this afternoon. And I'm going to thank you for joining me once again here at Coffee and Headlines. I hope you will continue to stay as cool as possible. I hope you don't get any energy or water shortages. And I hope to see you again sometime in the near future. Have a good one.